Hello. All right, you guys. We just have some people coming, so we're going to get them seated real quick. I'm going to get y'all up on here, so if there's any... Ooh. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, share. All right, make sure you all say hi. Sharing is caring. Heart buttons are happy. All right, so for all the people here and all the people on FaceTube land, I do want to give a little disclaimer. I'm Ilani. I am not a teacher, but I do like to share with people the information and the experiences that I have had throughout my journey. So, hi Donna. So today we are going to, can you guys see the screen? You guys on there? I don't know if you can read that. Turn. Oh yeah, you can. Okay. All right. Today we're going to learn about some goddesses of magic. So it doesn't matter what tradition, what pantheon, what belief system you have. Each and every one has some kind of a goddess of magic, okay? Some of them have more than one. Lots of them. Hi, Johnny. Okay. All right. So, goddesses of magic. So, on the screen, there's going to be kind of a depiction of each of them and then just a little bit of information. I'm going to go over 6 major ones, and then I have a list of others that are also major ones, but I couldn't go over 50 goddesses in the 2-hour period. So we're going to start with the Morrigan. We're starting with the Morrigan because she's the Morrigan. I adore her. I actually call on her quite often. So we're starting with her. So she is Irish or Celtic. That's kind of her pantheon, her tradition. However, many different belief systems do have some version of her. Okay. Sorry, she's also known as the Phantom Queen. So the reason she's known as the Phantom Queen is because she is there, then she's not there. She is all-seeing. Everybody sees her in a different way, if that makes sense. Apparently my notes didn't print out. Well, they did print out, but not in the right order. Okay, so the Morrigan fascinates people, like, so much. There are those new people, and by new, I mean new to, like, paganism, anything like that, that she actually scares for good reason, okay? Morrigan and several on this list are super powerful, super intimidating goddesses. And so calling on any god or goddess, of course, is done at kind of your discretion. But there are some of them that, in my personal opinion, you need to be a little more versed in your craft before you try to call on them. The Morrigan is one of them. Because while she's beautiful, she's amazing, she can be benevolent, she is also kind of mean. I'm not going to lie. Like, she has that mean streak. That's why she is the goddess of magic and might, war and death, okay? She's the goddess of a lot more than that. Of course, magic, because that's what this class is about. But those are just some of the things that she oversees, okay? You guys at home, am I yelling? Because I'm talking with my regular voice or my presenter voice, and I have a microphone on. I just thought of that. I'm loud. Anyway, so she is very much... Use caution if you're going to call on her. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. No one answered. Okay.
I'd say severe.
Severe?
Good way to put her.
She's severe?
Because how
Yeah.
forceful she comes through.
That's true. That's true. She is, hi, Stacy. She is severe. Yeah, she is very much, when she's there and she's helping you, you're gonna know it. Okay? You have a question?
Yeah. Is she like, does she like hide in the shadows?
She can. It depends on what the occasion is. Does that make sense? If for you guys at home, if you didn't hear, the question was, does she hide in the shadows? And my answer, which you guys heard, I don't do this technology thing, you guys, so I apologize in advance. So if the situation is warranted, then absolutely. But for the most part, you're not going to find her hiding in the shadows. She is bam in your face, okay? Okay, voice is just fine, not yelling at him. So a couple things. She is one of several triple moon goddesses, or triple goddesses, which means that she has 3 aspects, okay? Hers are a little bit different because it's usually not said that she has the 3 aspects. It's usually her and her sisters, her and her cousins. Many females are given the name the Morrigan, okay, due to how powerful it is. And then there are the 3 aspects of them. So she can come off as a beautiful maiden. She can come off as, you know, an old crone. She can come off as a crow because she's a shapeshifter. There's a lot to her.
Is she in any way connected to Morgana from the King Arthur?
Morgan Lafaye? We'll get to her, and no. Yes, no. Both. How's that? So a little bit more about her. Okay, her symbols, the raven and the crow. It's actually, in some stories, the raven, and in some, the crow. People seem to interchange them a lot, okay? Ravens and crows are very different birds. They are very different animals. They look a lot alike, okay? So I personally, whenever I'm calling on her, my symbol for her is going to be a raven, because I'm kind of associated with the raven. However, I have also been known to use a crow. So I think it's just kind of whichever one you choose. The Triskell, which if you don't know what a Triskell is, I'm sorry, I can't draw one. And I don't have one on, usually, and you don't either. You can draw? Okay, Jesse's going to draw us a Triskell. Maybe not very well, she says. Yeah.
Don't ravens mean death, so is that why she's associated with death?
So ravens and crows have both been thought to mean death, or are harbingers of death, okay? Yeah, that's a Triskell, kind of. This one.
More symmetrical.
This one, let's see, that one faces that way, that one faces. I think this one's back. Anyway, close. So, yes, I would say. I'm not sure of the exact reasoning. Well, actually, I kind of am. But she is nice. There you go. Revision. Okay, so yes, she is the goddess of death, goddess of kind of the dark, scary stuff, right? So ravens and crows are kind of perfect for her. And then why? Why would you call on her, right? She seems scary. Why would you call on her? If you're going through any type of battle, so you're going through a legal battle, you are battling a disease, any kind of battle that comes up in your life, any kind of fight, anything that you need the help to come out victorious, she would be great for, okay? So I am going to read you a little bit of information that I put together. I don't think I'm going to read all of it. I got really carried away because I really like the Morrigan. So, but I am going to also tell you guys of some books that you can read to learn about her. So she, in the modern world, she is found in many guises and is said to rule over a diverse array of things. So in the ancient world, she appeared in certain forms and was associated with specific activities and qualities. The picture of the ancient goddess does not always line up with the modern image embraced by so many, creating a shifting that a follower of the Morrigan must wander their way through. Okay. I can't breathe, you guys. This mask. She is a kick-ass goddess. Agreed. So no matter what you read, you're always going to get, or what you're taught, you're going to get kind of differing information, especially on appearance. So I chose this picture because I think it's fantastic. I have a picture that's hanging above my altar of her that is not nearly this, gorgeous. Like here she looks very, very gorgeous. The picture I have, not as gorgeous, still gorgeous, just not like perfect, Yeah. I don't know if that was the right word, but so just know that even though you may see her depicted in different ways, it's just kind of where that depiction came from, whether it was from older, newer, middle. Question?
So the picture that you have
Mhm.
of is it more like a beast type?
Yes, no. So it's like she's mid-transformation into a raven. So yes, because a raven is a beast, but no, because she is still her feminine human form as well. Yeah? Okay, so... Sorry. Those who seek her are generally seeking for something solid, yet often finding only shadow and dream, but are drawn on in their quest by the sound of the ravens calling, okay? If you have an affinity for ravens, or crows, or dark birds, wolves, another one of her aspects is a wolf, another one is a serpent. If you have affinities for any of those come to you, things like that, she might be trying to speak to you. I will tell you, though, if she tries to speak to you, listen, okay? Don't brush her off. Just like any of the goddesses on here, like when we get to like Isis, like if Isis calls you, don't ever brush her off, So generally when they reach out to you or want you to listen, it's for something that's super important, right? Would you say that? Yeah. Would you say that? Yeah. Okay. Hi, Jen. So the complexity of her, and the reason not a lot of people are able to like pinpoint her, is because of her nature. The complexity of her nature. Okay. So she appears in mythology as one goddess, but her name is also a title applied to two other goddesses that are her sisters, that are also her nieces, as well as several other Irish and Celtic goddesses at later points, okay? She is the Morrigan. She's not Morrigan. I myself sometimes say Morrigan. We have arguments. Not me and her, me and her. Because I informally drop the. But the correct way is the Morrigan, okay? Well, I guess the correct way would actually be said in Gaelic, but
and also that it's not necessarily for me the fact that it's supposed to be said that way, it's that it just feels wrong.
Right.
And I'll put the at the beginning.
Yep. There is no hard and firm boundary and no easy line to draw to separate one from the other. So, when you call on the Morrigan, you could be speaking of her, Badba, Makma, Faye, or Neiman, which I will all mention later. Those are her sisters and her nieces, right? Her cousins, things like that. Morrigu, which is, I know not how you say it, but that's how I say it because I don't speak Gaelic. Yeah.
Is there a goddess that has the nickname Tay?
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 Not that I could think of off the top of my head, but possibly. So let me think on that, okay? So they are collectively her nieces, and her sisters collectively known as the Morgane. So that is all of them as one aspect, okay? Or 3 Morrigans. So the first step in finding her is to understand her fluid nature and the difference between the title when applied to other goddesses as opposed to her. Does that make sense? So there's a fur in here. We need to hear Jesse's comments and the questions, please. Sorry, Melanie. Let's see. Okay, so different things that she can shift into. A beautiful woman, right? A crow, a raven, a wolf, an eel, a gray-haired hag, okay? Also a serpent. So a lot of the time, they're, in fact, in a book called the Tainbo Regama, which I probably said wrong, she's described as a red-haired woman who is dressed in a cloak. To my knowledge, I've never seen her as a red-haired woman, right? That doesn't mean that she never was. There are no known images from the Irish pagan period that would be able to kind of give us more of a picture. That's because of the rise of Christianity and a lot of the pagan places and things and books and traditions were burned or ruined or told to be forgotten. Okay, so there's not a lot of information that's come from there. So let's see. The mythology tells us several things about the nature of the Morrigan. We think of her today as a battle goddess. That's what most people think of her as, because she not only fought in and won wars, but because mythology tells us that she was also an inciter of war. So if you are trying to, call on your peaceful side and not really get into it about something, definitely don't call on her, because she will, if there's not already a battle going on, she wants to see a battle. So which I don't think is bad, because I think that sometimes you do have to battle in life. So, but if you're not prepared for a battle, don't call on her. Let's see. So she has, I don't know how these pages go. I should have numbered them. So she has actually incited gods to fight. So, or undertake a battle of overthrowing. And that's actually part of the Song of the Morrigan that she sings to Lugh. And part of it also goes, awake, make a hard slaughter, smiting bodies, attacks boiling, greatly deafening, devastating, the people to a man crying out. Okay? If that doesn't tell you something, then I think I need to repeat it. Because that should be able to tell you something, right? She's also a god of prophecy. So she predicts the future after the battle. And she's also, in the aspect of her sister, Badba, she predicts the death before the battle. Okay? So depending on what or who is taking up that title, depends on kind of what their prophecy is.
The washer at the ford?
Yeah, how'd you know that?
In one of my tarots, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Reiterate that, though? Everybody else?
Oh, yeah, the washer at the ford. Or do you want the whole thing reiterated? That's what Jesse said, was the washer at the ford, and I agree.
I might not know what that is.
I don't know why I leaned this way when the microphone's here. Oh my gosh. I'm expecting my husband to jump on any time and just laugh at me. So that's the aspect of the Badba, which is the sister. So depending on who takes up that mantle, depends on kind of what their prophecy is. Okay? Did I read that one? Yes. Okay. I think it goes this way. Oh my gosh, you guys. Maybe I shouldn't have done back and front. What?
I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the Morrigan is a complex goddess, and some actually say a group of complex goddesses, but she can be found in in history, in mythology. She can also be found in stories being passed down, as well as in events of today. So she's not a goddess that's gone anywhere, or that I don't believe has a plan of going anywhere, if that makes sense. And then nothing is simple with her. Okay, I wanted to point that out. But if we need to, all we need to do, if we need answers for her, we need to connect to her. We need her to help us or look over us or things like that, is just ask her, find her. Like there are not, with some goddesses, there are ornate rituals, things you can do, for them to come and help you. With her, it's just kind of like, you need to be sure that you're ready and then call on her type thing. She's very receptive. All right. Anyway, she has many, many sacred places, especially in Ireland. There's actually a really pretty forest that is her domain. So that is the Morrigan. Any questions on the Morrigan? Hi, Lynn. Okay. That way. No? No questions on the Morrigan? Perfect. Going to Baba Yaga. This is, I don't know if you've seen Jessie, which you guys haven't, but you guys have. The Morrigan came up and she clapped. And then Baba Yaga came up and she clapped. It seems like there's a trend here because she's known as a mean, a mean one as well. So maybe Jessie's too nice, so she has to call on all the mean goddesses. Yeah? Yeah. So, all right. So she is Slavic, Eastern European, Western Asian, which is really weird because I had always known, up until, like 10 years ago or so, I had always known the Baba Yaga is Slavic, right? Never even thought of the others. Baba Yaga is kind of a sad story because Baba Yaga was always a benevolent, beautiful goddess, okay? And then stories have gone by, years have gone by, and different stories have now turned her into someone to fear. And I think that's sad because I feel like everybody has that good and bad. It's like how they balance it. So I'm a little bit sad that she's only known for the bad. If you don't know, Baba Yaga is also the foundation for the Hansel and Gretel story, the original Hansel and Gretel story, not the one that became a little nicer. Anyway, she's also known as the Slavic witch goddess. Okay, she's the goddess of regeneration, maternal properties, and efficiency. What? So she is also a triple goddess. She's usually portrayed as 3 old hags, though. She doesn't have the mother maiden or the maiden mother crone. She has all the hags. I always thought of Baba Yaga as Russian. That's what May said. So her symbols are corn sheaves and wildflowers, as well as skulls. So the fact that wildflowers are kind of associated with her, I think that goes to show that she does have a good side, right? And then why you would call on her, you would invoke her to tap into your wild side and connect with your ancestors. So if you're trying to do any kind of ancestral work, definitely Baba Yaga is one for you. Once again, disclaimer, don't call on Baba Yaga unless you are ready for Baba Yaga, because she is once again very, very intense. I love her chicken feet house. Jessie's clapping. You can't see that, but anyway, she is one of those that I would once again caution if you are new to paganism or looking for goddesses or anything like that. Any form of paganism. Pagan is, when I say pagan, it's just the umbrella term for everything under that. So if you're newer, if you're not as strong, steady, confident, whatever word you want to use, probably don't call on her either. Okay, she's perhaps one of the most well-known pieces of Slavic folklore. So Baba Yaga was once a well-respected and revered witch goddess in Eastern Europe and Western Asia. As Christianity spread, Baba Yaga was diminished from a goddess to an ugly old hag that lived out in the woods and ate little children. It is possible that Baba Yaga was originally a triple goddess. You would definitely, like I said, invoke her to tap into your wild side. Okay, so as ambiguous as she is hideous, Baba Yaga is an anomaly. Both a maternal Mother Nature figure and an evil villain who enjoys eating those who fail to complete her tasks in a timely manner. Okay. Though the origins of her name are as unclear as her purpose, it is believed that Baba means something like old woman or grandmother, which makes sense because in the Slavic languages, your Baba is your grandmother, right? And then while Yaga could mean anything from snake to wicked. So there's a lot of different opinions on that. Regardless, even Baba Yaga's name emphasizes the strangeness of her person, making her an interesting character to decipher. The most common portrayal of Baba Yaga is as either one old woman or a trio of old women, all of whom are depicted as skinny, with iron teeth and noses so long that they touch the ceiling when they sleep. That is taken from one of the many fables about Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga, yeah.
Does she have black hair?
Sometimes she has black hair, sometimes she has gray hair, sometimes she has straggly, like, dishwater blonde hair. Does that make sense? Like, just like the couple of different things, different strands. There are different aspects of her, which is probably why I think that one of her things is that she is known as one of the triple goddesses. Because no one can pinpoint or agree on exactly who or what she looks like, if that makes sense. So Baba Yaga is commonly illustrated as riding around on a mortar rather than a broom. Because, witches ride brooms. Well, she doesn't. She rides a mortar. Wielding a pestle as both a flying aid and a wand. So she goes around in her little mortar and has her little pestle and is like, bippity boppity boo, I'm going to eat you. Come back to my chicken foot hut. I am a granny snake witch. That's what Milani said. Tales involving her usually take place at her hut. It is found deep in the woods, standing on magical chicken legs with a rooster's head on top. Legend says that her hut is surrounded by a fence made of human bones. I don't know if any of that is telling you, make sure you're ready for her. So inside her hut, heroes usually encountered her stretching across her cooking stove. The enormous stove itself was reaching from one side of the hut to the other, emphasizing her size and magic. The stove is another common detail in all tales of Baba Yaga as the punishment for the failure of certain tasks, and so therefore your fate is of being cooked and eaten in the oven. Despite an ambitious appetite, however, Baba Yaga is always portrayed as very skinny, very bony, and some people call her the bony one. Okay, she definitely is not one that I would have people become gung-ho, like just right out of the gate, if that makes sense. Like, Milani, it kind of scares me a little bit that that you know so much about the Baba Yaga. What are you doing? You, what did you say? Granny snake witch? She's self-described as a granny snake witch, so I'm not calling her names. Anyway, so the Baba Yaga is fascinating. While I think everybody should read the mythos about her, the history, as well as the fables that were written about her and everything, I would not recommend her to just everyone. Okay? Questions about Baba Yaga? Oh, I am the exact opposite in appearance. Okay, so the age-old question for her is she a benefactor or is she a villain? Okay. Is she eating people that deserve it, or is she, and therefore, saving others from possible harm, things like that, or is she taking anyone and eating them, right? So the characterization of her is where a lot of the uncertainty comes from. So she varies in different stories from being a benefactor and being a villain, okay? She either helps the heroes of the Slavic myths or she hinders them. Though it appears that she never goes after anyone unprovoked, okay, remember that? Unprovoked. That is to say, without the person at least coming to the door of her hut with bad intentions, she does appear to follow little or few morals. Nevertheless, whatever promise she makes for the completion of her tasks, she keeps no matter what. So she is a great goddess. Okay, she's a great goddess for truths and keeping your word. Okay. All right. Ready for the next one? I'll put both spellings on there because people get butthurt either way. Yeah. A really, really large one that's actually a dog. Oh. It's all right. That actually does look very feline, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, it's a dog. I don't know. I just really liked this picture because it had her torch, it had her moon, it had her snake, and it had her dog, and it had her skull, and it's kind of foreboding, if that makes sense. So this is Hecate, or Hecate. It's not Hecate, you guys. It's Hecate, or however you want to say it, and that makes you feel happy. Just don't say it around Jessie any other way besides Hecate, because she will die a little bit inside. Okay, so she is Greek, Roman, Celtic, as well as Irish. So it depends on how you're learning about her, because her aspects are from a bunch of different pantheons. How did you learn about her? Greek?
I can't remember, because she came at me from a lot of different directions.
Okay.
And some say
Karen, do you know anything about her?
I thought she was primarily Greek.
Yeah, so that's what I had always thought, right? Like, because there's the stories of her with Diana, who is Greek.
The idea that I got from my reading was that Selene, Hecate, and Artemis are really all one.
That's there.
entity,
Yep.
Different aspects of it.
So that's how I always learned about it. And I recently learned, probably about 2 weeks ago, that spelled this way is the Greek Roman, spelled this way is the Irish Celtic. Right? I never knew that.
I will say I've read a couple of articles that say that she predates Greek and
That's true.
and so that she was just picked up by a lot.
Yeah, so she is sometimes known as like the goddess. Like she doesn't have a strict place. So that's what I was actually getting at. So look at you. Yeah.
Isn't she related to snake lady?
The what?
The snake lady.
Medusa? So the question was, wherever the thing is. Oh, my necklace is probably hit that. I hope that didn't bug you guys. The question was, is she related to Medusa? Probably. I don't think there are any strict facts that she is, but there's also nothing that says she isn't. And how the Greeks were? She probably was. Not gonna lie. The Greeks were all related in one way or another. For lack of a better phrase. Yeah. That was the nicest way I could say that. Was that good? That was good. Okay. All right, so she's also known as the goddess of the Crossroads, which is what her doggy is for. Sometimes her doggy is three-headed, also known as a Cerberus. Sometimes her dog is white, which I've never seen it portrayed as a white dog, but whatever. That's what I have recently found out. Sometimes the dog isn't even there, and it's just the bones and things like that. So she's the goddess of moon and intuition, dreams and cycles. Okay, so that's why her symbol, her biggest symbol right there, is the triple moon. You have your waxing, your waning, waxing, waning, and full. And I don't know what a wanus is, but now I want to know. Anyway, so the aspects are the Maiden, Mother, and Crone. Anyone that has even probably just delved into any sort of paganism has probably seen the triple moon, has probably heard Maiden, Mother, and Crone. Okay? Just because that is one of the, most popular symbols, most popular things for any kind of goddess is the triple goddess. All right? Her symbols are the triple moon, snakes, torches, and keys. So I actually have her, and I have it's a figurine of her that it's all three of her aspects. One's holding the torch, one's holding keys, and then one has the snake. So it's all in one. Super pretty. I love it. You have one too?
Yeah, but it doesn't have the three aspects. It
Oh.
just has all the symbols.
On one aspect. Okay. So why would you invoke her? Any periods of great transition in your life. So you're starting a new career, you're starting a new business, you are moving, you're buying a new house, you're building a new house, you are having a child, you are having a surgery, you have learned that you have some life-threatening or life-altering disease, you are moving to another country, you are embarking on a new relationship. I had a new boyfriend, I got a new girlfriend, I'm getting, married, I already said that one. You're getting divorced. Those are all different cycles. And they're all big transitions, okay? That's a great time to call on her. Let's see. So she's a well-known witch goddess of ancient Greece as well, still worshipped by modern-day pagans. She is the lady of the crossroads with three heads or guarded by the three-headed dog. This one says for Greece it's a white dog, and then the black dog is Celtic. So... Yep. Her dominion is the moon, menstruation. So, where it says during periods, just stop there because that's her. Okay. Intuition, dreams, cycles, and one of the biggest cycles is life, death, and rebirth. Okay. And then, of course, witchcraft because, witches, magic. So, if you read the book, Invoke the Goddess, it's by Calatrove. We're going to spell that out on here. Yeah? Yeah, hopefully you guys can all see that. I don't know if you can. Anyway, in that, she writes that she is the patroness of prostitutes, thieves, and beggars, not to mention witches, and protects those on the outskirts of society. She represents the objective eye-searing the objective eye searing through the facade of mainstream society. Go away. Okay, you guys, that was, because I said searing. Searing. Gosh. I was like, why did that come up? Let's see. So, objective eye searing through the facade of mainstream society. She is the original socialist. Okay. I would probably... I'm not going to say that that you need to be super well versed or anything to call on her. But I would say, well, I guess disclaimer, if you're going to call on any gods or goddesses, be ready. Some more ready than others, like Kali. You know, we talk about her at the end. She's my literal last one. Anyway, she is definitely what some people would think of as like a beginner goddess, I guess you could say. So if you want to learn about a very important goddess who has a ton of history, who isn't going to smite you right away, you know, maybe, you know, check out her. Okay? Hakkate. Hecate. All right, any careers, any questions? This is why I don't teach you guys. Any questions? You guys are awfully quiet on there. Okay, going on. Okay. This, I don't know why this is dumb. Okay, whatever. Isis, okay. Isis is Egyptian. I don't know if you could tell by the picture. Anyway, so she's also known as the Egyptian goddess of magic. So, little disclaimer again. While not referred to, let's see, this way. Not referred to as a witch goddess, she was indeed an Egyptian goddess of magic, particularly ritual magic. So, I added her because I think that it's super important to hear about all the different pantheons, traditions, all of that. And Isis is a huge figure. If you know anything about, you know, the Egyptian pantheon or tradition, Isis figures in a lot of different things. The reason I gave the disclaimer of not referred to as a witch goddess is because she is over magic, but she's not a witch. Eh? Maybe? Yeah. Okay, so she's the goddess of the dead, good fortune, and travel, among a whole plethora of other things. None of these goddesses are just over, you know, what I said, or what's on here. They have a lot underneath their little umbrella. So she is not a triple goddess. First one on the list. She is Isis, just Isis, not everyone else. Okay. Her symbols are the solar disk, the cow's horns, and the scorpion. However, in some readings, the solar disk is actually the moon disk. So, I've heard it both ways. I have only seen her with the solar disk. My daughter swears it's a moon disk. I don't know.
I think one of her symbols is a throne.
Oh, it is. It is. I just didn't put throne on there.
And the cow's horns, that I think comes more from Hathor.
Mm-hmm.
She's like a divine cow. Somehow the two of them kind of got linked together.
Yep. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it was said that one of her symbols is also a throne, which is absolutely correct. And then that the cow symbol, or the cow horns, it come from Hathor because they kind of got hooked together, and that's kind of where it came from. I do have a little bit of information on that. So why would you invoke her? You would invoke her when you're learning anything about Egyptian magic. Like, that one's a no-brainer. But also to birth something from destruction, and to learn the secrets of motherhood and life. Okay, Isis is a pretty cool figure. Even if the Egyptian tradition or Egyptian path does not interest you, I would still tell everybody to at least learn a little bit about it, because there's so much hidden history that's just so rich and amazing. I absolutely love learning about Egyptian. And I don't know if that's just my natural curiosity or because that's what my daughter does as well, but yeah. So, let's see. She is as ancient as time itself, and henceforth is the embodiment of the divine feminine. In Egyptian mythology, she gains her magical knowledge by tricking Ra into telling her his many names. So everybody, especially in Egyptian times, they had different names, right? And names give power. And so she was able to trick him because, trick him into trick him for those names. And she had to use trickery because you didn't just give your name to everyone, if that makes sense. Wonder if I'm missing comments or if no one's just saying anything. Hold on, you guys. No, not missing anything. Okay. So she gave birth to the god Horus by taking in the seed of her dead husband Osiris. Okay, that's how powerful her magic was. Her husband was dead, and she still had his child. Like, hey. So she knows how to shapeshift and is often depicted with the wings of a large bird. You would invoke her. I already went over that. So her themes are actually kind of very diverse. So magic, harvest, dreams, divination, perspective, faithfulness, love, spirituality, and destiny. Her symbols are bloodstones, amethyst, silver, myrrh, hawks, the moon, and the sun. Which is really weird because the sun is masculine. Anyway, I will think of that later. So one of the most complete goddess figures in history. She gives us the spring winds to revitalize and fulfill our spirits in every way. So Egyptians definitely considered her the queen of sorcery, life of the Nile, the mother moon, and the protectress. She taught humankind the basic skills necessary to build civilizations, and she came to represent the powerful attributes of faithfulness, love, inner beauty, oracle insight, and spiritual awareness, and that's just a couple. She could also change her followers' destinies. So, you know, the whole like fate thing, whatnot. She said, I don't care about that. You know, I'm going to change these. She could. She didn't always, but she could. So there's actually a festival called the Festival of Isis, and it's a spring harvest festival every year in Egypt. It's actually coming up in like less than a month. And it's pretty cool because there's a website called the Egyptian Pathos, I think that's what it's called. And you can actually go on there and you can watch some of their ceremonies. Like some of them are very private, and so they don't allow you to watch them. I see what you mean now by the whole I move off. They don't allow you to watch all of them, but there are parts of them that you are able to watch. And so if that's something that interests you, I think that would be fantastic. And it is all about her, okay? So on that day or during that time, make sure you have a bloodstone or an amethyst in your pocket, and that is to help you inspire Isis's characteristics for your soul and your life, okay? If you have any silver or white clothing or jewelry, wearing them will also foster Isis-centered energy because they're associated with the moon. And then one traditional activity to honor Isis, is fortune telling. So to encourage visionary dreams from her, put some rose petals under your pillow before going to bed, and then burn some myrrh or some jasmine. And that is said to kind of like bring her to look over you so that you can do some fortune telling. And then also keep a dream diary handy and write your impressions as soon as you wake up, okay? Those are just kind of some things that you can do for her. With Isis, I think that she is also, I don't want anyone to say like cultural appropriation because I hate that. But there are a lot of very firm believers that if you do not have Egyptian descent, or if you are not of Egyptian descent, you should not follow an Egyptian god or goddess, okay? And then there are a lot of people that are like, just because I don't, this god or goddess calls to me. So it is completely up to you. I myself have called on Isis. I myself have called on Set. Like, for me personally, if they speak to me, or if I resonate with them or whatnot, I am more than happy to give thanks, to honor them in whatever way I can, as well as to know that I have them there in my corner. Okay. As for Isis, I think that she is a great goddess for beginners to look into. So, what are we reading?
I'm trying to find that one to the flash before.
Oh, Jesse came back with a book. Anyway, I dig her. I think that she has some some really great attributes that everybody kind of needs to have in them or try to foster a little bit more. Any questions about Isis? Will someone online say hi or something? Because it has said depends for the last 40 minutes. All right. Moving on. Morrigan Lafaye. All right, so Morrigan Lafaye isn't a goddess. So she is from Arthurian legend. Hi, Stacy. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Arthurian legend. Okay. She is known by a lot of names, but one of the biggest is the fairy witch goddess. Because she's into elements, and she's also an herbalist. So those are kind of her what she's over. And she is not a triple moon goddess or a triple goddess. Why do I keep saying moon in the middle? So a little bit about her. She is shrouded in mystery because she's been a prominent character in Arthurian legends. Some feel that these legends are born out of history, of actual things that have happened, and some feel that these are born out of a really great imagination. I tend to think that they actually did happen. I feel like most things that, boo, Melanie said boo. Most things that you can look at or that have some kind of an impact nowadays, I feel like they happened, if that makes sense. So she was the half-sister, and aide to King Arthur. In some of the legends, it says that she actually saved King Arthur by whisking him off to Avalon after a fatal battle. In her witch goddess form, she is an elemental master and an herbalist. She's part fairy. She was a priestess of Avalon and a consort to the Lady of the Lake. She also possessed the ability to cross into other worlds and realms. Okay, so her symbols are the tree, the pentacle, and the sword. Not just any sword, but it's a claymore sword, to be exact, which Excalibur was a claymore, right? So it is a big sword. Yeah.
Do you know about a sword that if you get killed by that sword, you are not able to come back and or you will not be able to live anymore?
Like a Damascus steel sword?
Yes.
So there are a lot. Oh, the question was, do I know of a sword that if you were to get killed by it, that you would not be able to come back or live or your spirit live on or any of those things? My answer was like a Damascus sword. So there are many, many tales, and I don't know if they're true or not, but about Damascus steel. It's the strongest steel. It's from the gods. If you are pricked by it, not just killed by it, but pricked by it, that you cease to exist, basically. There's no history of you. There's no anything, okay? Then there are other stories that say that your soul will then inhabit the sword or the dagger or whatever it is. And then there are some stories that say that if you live after being wounded by it, that you are almost indestructible. Okay? So it's really just what resonates with you, because there are so many different stories and different takes on it. Okay? All right. Back to Morgan Le Fay. Let's see. Okay, so why invoke her? You were to invoke her when you're working with fairies and elementals, when you're parting the veil and casting magic with any kind of herbs. Okay, she, like I said, she's an herbalist, which I think is why Jesse likes her. I don't know if that's why Jesse likes her. I have no idea. That's what I've decided, though. Oh, that's super weird. So these are still out of order. Many flowers, nature of the title, blah. There we go. Sorry. Okay. So for her, where am I? She is a powerful feminine figure. She represents control, sorcery, and manipulation. She's often depicted as using underhanded and manipulative methods to create her power. Sorry. During King Arthur's reign and in various tales afterwards, she shows up as a shapeshifter. So she is a fairy, but sometimes she is shown as a queen or a mermaid or a beautiful young woman or maybe a crone or maybe a hag or an enchantress, a witch. They're all different things. So if you've ever seen The Sword in the Stone, and her name in that is not Morgan Le Fay, but there is a witch that in one scene, her and Arthur are going at it, and she becomes a dragon and a serpent and all of these different things, and then he's changing as well. That's kind of a depiction of her. Okay. And then, let's see. So in some accounts, not all, but some, she has a pretty bad reputation. People think of her as super evil, a seductress, hypersexual, a temptress. She doesn't care if you are married. She doesn't care if you are betrothed, anything like that, promised to another. If you take a vow of celibacy, she does not care, according to some. Okay, please don't tell me. Elsewhere, she is a heroine. So literally one side to the other, like there is no consistency in her story. So because of that inconsistency, it makes it really difficult to kind of pinpoint what is and is not real with her, or if she was real or if she's just part of a legend. I myself believe that she is real, but she is a woman of mystery. So she is often said, like I said, to be the half sister of King Arthur. Sorry about this, but it's also said that she had a child with him. So there's that. Bless you. Sometimes she's the Mistress of Merlin, who is the one that taught her magic. Others say she learned her magical arts in a nunnery. It is said sometimes that she was the most intelligent and educated woman of her time. In most legends, Morgan and Arthur are never on good terms. Never, never. It is never explained exactly why they don't get along, but some have presented their own ideas, such as the Encyclopedia of Witches, which is pretty cool. So it's the Encyclopedia of Witches and Witchcraft. She is always portrayed as evil, plotted against Arthur to steal his sword Excalibur, and otherwise bring him down, and that's why they didn't get along. All right? I would definitely not call on her. For basically anyone. So she's half fairy, so half Faye. And if you are interested in her, get to know what the Fae are about before you bother to call on her. The Fae are amazing in their own way, but they are tricksters. There are, the Seelie Court, the Unseelie Court. There's a lot of different things about the Fae that people need to know before they try to call on the goddess that is half Fae. So, while I personally believe she did exist. I personally believe she is super powerful. I personally believe that she could be pretty helpful. I myself would probably not call on her, except for probably in extreme cases. And I have practiced for this year's 26 years. So I wouldn't recommend it. But I wanted you guys to know better. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I don't know. So that's Morrigan Le Fay. Do we have any questions about her? Nope. Okay. Cersei. Okay. So she is the witch goddess of that word. You guys, I cannot say that. Huh? Sure, that one. So she is ancient Greek, which is different than Greek Roman, which Greek and Roman are not the same thing, but anyway. This is what they say predates regular Greek, which is really hard to predate Greek. Like, that's some old stuff. Anyway, she is the goddess of transformation and animals. Once again, a shapeshifter. A lot of the goddesses of magic are shapeshifters in some way, shape, and or form. It's kind of just their thing. She is also not a triple goddess. So her symbols are the pigs, lions, and then cups or chalices. And she actually is the representation in the Rider-Waite deck of the queen, or sorry, it's the empress, no, the queen of cups is said to be, the meaning behind it is said to be based on her in the Rider-Waite tarot. Not in the Thoth, not in, any of the other ones, just that one, which I guess I would be more because that's what a lot of them are based off of. So I have never heard of regular Greek. It's got better probiotics. Oh, that's yogurt. That's yogurt. Sorry. Yeah, so I haven't heard it ever called regular Greek either, just Greek. But there's Greek and ancient Greek. So if you're talking about Greek, you're talking about, more well-known gods and goddesses. If you're talking ancient Greek, this is before them. Okay, why would you invoke her? So you would invoke her for justice against abusers, to learn the art of transformation, and to work with herbs and potions. I almost read that as poisons because that's another thing she likes, or that she's over. So if you feel like poisoning someone, please don't poison anyone. Disclaimer, I am not responsible, nor is the Golden Flame Institute responsible for any of your actions. I don't know if that was a good disclaimer, but it is good enough. Cersei has become a really popular name nowadays, spelled different ways. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, Cersei was not a very good person. I don't know. A lot of people, when they start talking about Cersei, that's usually where it's from. It's not ever the goddess, and that makes me sad. But she's a nymph and a goddess. So her father is Helios, and he actually sends her to exile on the island of Aia. Aia. There you go. I don't know if that's correct, you guys. But she is the goddess of transformation, is best known for her skill with potions, poisons, herbs, and animals. She is a very kind goddess, which is why poisons kind of surprise me. But you got to treat her right. If you don't treat her right, then she's not. She will then transform into a pig or another animal and take care of you. You can actually read about her in Homer's Odyssey. Or there's a couple of other books that actually have her in it some of them are folk tales, some of them are true history. I did that because you never know what is true and what isn't. So in Greek mythology, she was a goddess of magic, though she was sometimes depicted as a nymph, which is a minor nature god, a witch, or just an enchantress. So it's up to you to decide, is she an actual goddess? Is she a nymph? Is she a witch? You know, sign me up for Cersei. Really? Really? So in any case, she was associated with magic so much. Like, all about her is magic, okay? She knew a lot about the potions and herbs, and sometimes used this knowledge against her enemies or people who just offended her. Yeah.
So is that a H on her arm?
Oh, yeah, yes. It's not an H as we would know it, though.
Okay.
It's,
What it means?
yeah.
Why it's there?
Yep. I had looked this up earlier because my husband said that. Where are you? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, by the way, her parents are Helios and either Percy or Hecate. We're not sure. They didn't have tests back then.
Usually it's not maternity that you need to test for, but
Right? But in this case,
yeah.
because Helios had her. That is where she kept her magical wand.
All right.
So it looks like an H, but it is, I don't know, a magical spot where she could get her wand to come out. Yeah. Let's.
Convenient.
What?
Not convenient.
Right? Like if I could have something like, I wonder if it was painful though. I don't know. She looks very pretty, like soft pretty. I don't know if she could handle the pain. No, well, she is ancient Greek, so those were rough and tumble. Like they could handle a lot. Okay, so sometimes she, like I said, used that knowledge against enemies and people that offended her. Sometimes killing them, sometimes turning them into wild animals, sometimes turning them into undesirables. And then she had a wand, yeah. Its name was Rapidos, which I feel like is a My Little Pony name. It's Rapidash, but anyway. It was the earliest, her staff or wand was actually the earliest mention of a magical wand or staff in Western writings. So, yeah, they didn't really talk about wands or bippity-boppity-boos until, her. Let's see. So, where am I? Oh, my goodness. Oh, that goes back to, right there, okay. Okay, so she was the daughter of Helios, who was a Titan, okay, who represented the sun, and Perseus, who was an ocean nymph, or the daughter of Helios, a Titan, a Titan who represented the sun, and Hakkate, who represented the moon. So, yeah. She was one of 3,000 of her kind, okay? But the thing that is kind of important about her is she was exiled to that island, and so she became the witch goddess of that island. So that's why she's mentioned more than any of the other 3,000. So there are also daughters of the Titans, Oceanus and Tethys, I think is how you say it. And then, let's see. Oh, yeah, the Hakkate. Okay, I go this way. Festival of Isis, this way. Okay, so she had two brothers. One was named Aeetes, and he looked after the golden fleece, a fleece that was the property of royalty. It was made from the wool of a golden ram with wings. And then her second brother was Perseus. All right, multiple of the Percy. Faye was her only sister, and she was the queen of the Greek island Crete, and also the wife of King Minos. It was also said that she gave birth to the Minotaur, the mother of Minotaurs, what? A creature that was half man, half bull, with the head and horns of a cattle and the body of a man. So in some stories, she was exiled by her father to live alone, but she became not alone. The reason she was exiled was as punishment for killing the prince of Colchis. It's probably not. Colchis. Colchis. That's how I decided. Who was her husband at the time. And then she later went on to have children with Odysseus, who was the king of Ithaca. And her 3 sons were Ardius, Latinus, and Telegonus. There you go. Okay, that is more about the Morrigan because the Morrigan, but okay. Any questions on Cersei? I haven't even been looking at these. Other amazing goddesses to know about. Okay, so these ones I'm just going to kind of tell you who they are, what their tradition and pantheon is, and kind of what they're over or what they are known for, besides magic. Because this is the class is Goddesses of Magick, so they're all over magic, but yeah. So we have Diana, who is Roman, and she was actually over childbirth as well as the moon. So she, I would say, would be a good beginner one. Oh, and I was going to say Cersei would be a good beginner one too. At least in my opinion. Okay. And then we have Aradia, who is Strega or Stragera. I could not roll my, yep. Mm-hmm. And she was over teachers. So that doesn't mean like, in a classroom teachers, but people that taught. And back in, those times, everybody, if you had a skill or if you knew that you would teach other people because that's how you prospered. Anyway, she's the goddess of them. Minona, which is African, and I did not know very much about her until I'd say, about 2 weeks ago, and she's absolutely fascinating. Anyway, so she's over sorcery and fortune telling, and if you've ever heard of hoodoo, hoodoo is also an African / Creole / it's a lot of different things mixed, but she is featured a lot in hoodoo. Nephthys, yep, I can't say that, is Egyptian, and that's the goddess of the air. And then the Bod, whatever. That's how I say it. The Irish, huh?
Bab.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Irish Celtic. We kind of talked about her already with, you're doing that. Thank you, Melanie. Her sister is the Morrigan. And then there's Iridessa or Irodessa, however you want to say it. She's Faye. So she is one of the goddesses of the fairies, not to mess with. But she particularly also was over the sun. And so the sun is a big thing for a lot of different belief systems. And then there's Freya, which I hope people know who that is. Anyone? No. That's Norse. So, sorry, I have to put my glasses over my thing or they fog up. Okay, put that back down there. All right, where are we at? Freya, who is also the goddess of death. And other things, but that was one of the things that I wanted to show. because I don't know if you have noticed, but out of the 6 major ones that we went over, 4 of them have something to do with death, crossing, or the crossroads. I think that's kind of big because magic and death kind of go hand in hand. Not that I think I said that terribly, but you kind of have to realize with anything really under the pagan umbrella that there is kind of a circle. You know, there's that life and then the death and then the rebirth and whatnot. Even if you don't believe in reincarnation or whatnot, maybe your rebirth is a tree or however, you believe, there is always some aspect of death, whether that's physical death or the death of an idea, the death of a project, something like that. Okay. And then there's Maria Padilla, who is also known as Pompaguira, and she is Brazilian. Okay, she is, Freya loves cats. She is also a goddess of the Crossroads. So, hey, there's another one. And then there's Sarawin, who is Celtic and the goddess of the underworld. I really like Sarawin. Anyway, but the underworld, what goes to the underworld? Dead people! Yeah. Jezebaba, who is Czech, also known as the Granny Witch and Baba Yaga's sister. So Jezebaba, which is, apparently well, Baba is Granny, so is Jezza witch as well, because Yaga is witch, so it's Jezibaba. Yeah, for the whole thing. And then there's Lilith, okay? I included Lilith because I believe that Lilith is more than just a figure from Christianity, okay? Christians, there's a story about Lilith, Adam's first wife, blah, 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 lots of things, abducts children, kills them, things. Also a demon. Okay, maybe. But she also had good things to her. So she comes from Hebrew folklore, or Hebrew paths, and she is known for the dark moon. Yeah.
Wasn't Lilith Aiden's first wife?
No, Lilith was Adam's first wife, if you're going Christian. Are we going Christian or are we going Roman Greek?
Roman.
Then yes. If we're going Christian, which is where most people have heard of Lilith because she's an example of what not to do in Christianity, whereas in paganism, she's more of an example of you can be dark and still do things that are needed, if that makes sense. So yes, in how you were going, yes, but I was talking about Christianity. So that's why I said Adam. So, let's see. There's Bafana, who's Strega, or I can't roll my letters too well. My Lonnie loves Lilith. Oh, my niece loves you too. It's my niece's name. Anyway, but she is the goddess of children. Woo-hoo. And I mean, from the beginning of creating the child till that child grows up, she did all of childhood. That was her thing. Kybel, who is Phrygian, I probably said that wrong, but it's Phrygian, Phrygian, and she's known as the mother. She's the mother of gods, also known as mother. Fraser Crane's ex-wife. That's true. Lilith was a strong woman, first woman to stand up to a man. Thank you, Stacy. Anyway, but also the goddess of primal nature. So we all have, different aspects to us, and one of them is your primal nature. Not many people are actually really in touch with their primal nature, but she'll help you. Herodias, it was biblical. But not just biblical. You can find them on the Christianity side, and you can find them on the paganism side. Because on the paganism side, it's the goddess of the wild hunt, which is all pagan. I don't care who you are. The wild hunt has no place over in Christianity. If you don't know what the wild hunt is, look it up. It's a trip. You're going to lose 4 hours. Or you could come talk to me at some point in time because I love talking about the wild hunt. It makes my heart happy. And then there's Leto, who was Norse, but she wasn't just Norse. She was also a Titaness. And she was also known as the protector. So she protected people. There's Medea, who was Greek.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I was going to say I have 3. Medea, who was Greek and was over prophecy. And then there's Kali. Kali was Hindu, and she's kind of over time, doomsday, death. Her name, her full name, actually translates to she of the dark, she who is black, or she who is death. Kali is, I saved her for last because, well, for last of that little list, because I don't think anyone should call on her that is not ready, and I don't know many people that would be ready. Now, I am going to talk about one more, because I have the time, and it'll be quick. So, Kali, the winter witch goddess, and that is Cailleach. And she is a witch goddess from Scotland. She's also associated with Ireland and the Isle of Man. She's the old crone, the winter crone, the veiled one, the old hag, and the old crone. So she's got a lot of names. She is the epitome of the old hag archetype. And she's long been honored for her rule over the winter weather. So, this snow, it's her fault. When it snows, people say that she has unleashed her magic on the land. The mountains are the winter witch's domain, and legend says that the winter crone made the mountains her stepping stones. She is seen as an ancestor to many people in Ireland and Scotland, as well as a sister to some of the most ancient goddesses of Irish and Scottish lore. She is the embodiment of winter and all that it brings: snow, ice, cold, death, and then eventually rebirth. Okay, that's what I'm ending with. Leslie, you can absolutely go back and watch it. It'll be posted on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and you type in Golden Flame Institute, you'll be able to see our, not just this video, but our past weeks of classes. Well, yeah, it's months and months and months, but I mean, anyway. You can catch up on all of the pretty fantastic classes. Or you can look at the Hidden Sage, where you are now, and it will be there as well. So, okay, for a short time. So if you want to get them on FaceTube, make sure that you go watch them now, or you're going to have to go over to the U-Book and go to Golden Flame Institute. FaceTube and the U-Book. Okay, thank you guys for coming. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.